So it took 2 weeks for the last video to be made. Okay, so we're gonna kind of rush this one. See, we have not been in a humid environment to promote our content growth like a mushroom. For a mushroom to grow and have such an intricate system to where even scientists study it, it has to have the right environment. Moist, warm, silky, nasty environment for it to grow. It's just a, not freaking, like a, something to compare to something. You know what I mean? Anyways,
yeah.
I'm just being retarded now. Anyways, so I know you see the title of the intro. Many people who are probably watching this, Alice Shane, you probably have not heard of the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Yeah, I love how you just to say, shut up, bro. Anyways, I know you have not heard of this, and most people that have, at least have heard it through different senses. Anyways, yes, the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Many people don't even know what that is, unless you've watched VeggieTales, which we will actually get into, right? But we want to analyze and tell you what the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde really represents, because many modern iterations actually get them wrong. It started, the first initial appearance of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the strange case, was started in the book from 1888. Okay, 1886 was when the book was made. That was the first iteration, and through then it was a movie and then a cartoon, and then he further inspired other characters such as Hulk, Norman Osborn for Green Goblin, also Two-Face, and the term, Mr. Hyde or Dr. Jekyll has now become a term for a split personality. But you can see how that actually doesn't mess up or doesn't intertwine or add up with what the actual source material says. Now, I was lazy. I did not watch the whole thing. I didn't read the whole thing, but I understand the premise of what he really represents. So to understand the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, it doesn't even, in the book, it doesn't actually, the person who is actually investigating the case, if you look actually at VeggieTales, it's kind of funny, it is narrated or in the perspective of like an investigator, not an investigator, I think a friend or an investigator. I'm pretty sure it's an investigator, right? But basically, it starts with Mr. Hyde, right? And Mr. Hyde is this guy, and then Dr. Jekyll disappears, and they go to Mr. Hyde to see where Dr. Jekyll went, right? And I think that's something how it went. But many people go through the iteration of that the story of the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is about a good man who took an experimental potion, taking it upon himself to take this potion to see what the effects are for all of, for scientific purposes, right? Dr. Jekyll being a renowned scientist and doctor in Victorian London, where rapport and reputation is everything, to the point where reputation is basically your livelihood. Being upright, having gloves on, not being dirty is kind of the mode of living in Victorian London back then. That's where people where Jack the Ripper came to be, because it was so uptight that you had to have a certain mask on. We'll get to you have to have a certain image on, right? But Mr. Jekyll, Dr. Jekyll, he is this good man, quote unquote good man, who takes upon this potion that turns him into a bad man, or splits his personality that turns him into a bad person. And many iterations go through this, through the movie, the first movie that came out, because it was misinterpreted as a good man, a good doctor who took a potion that turned him into a bad man and split his personality. But that is not actually the story. The real story of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde is not a good doctor, a good man who took a potion and turned into a bad person. It is a bad man, a bad doctor who took a potion to disguise himself so he can enact on his desires in Victorian London, because he has such a praise. Now, inserting the whiteboard of doom, okay? I took some time to draw this. Here, you have Dr. Jekyll. What does he represent, Noah?
He represents the good, upper class. And, you're right.
Here, I might have to, I know. So, Dr. Jekyll, in a sense, represents good, the upper classness, respect, reputation, and morale, goodness and morale, because he is a renowned doctor in London at the time. Yeah. But Mr. Hyde is the stark contrast of him, even going as further as to say that he's the person who he hates the most. Basically speaking about himself in a way as who he has to act as in front of people. You know what I'm saying?
To keep up his good image.
Exactly. Give me a second. I want to see if I had some quotes up. You know what I'm saying? But so Dr. Jekyll is not a good doctor who tries to have this experimental potion to test it upon himself instead of testing it upon other people, right? To see the consequences, right? He says, no, I'll take it upon myself. That's not the actual story. He uses this as a mode to switch himself into Mr. Hyde, who is a stark contrast to who he portrays as himself in the media.
So basically, look at this. To enact on his true desires.
Yes. It's Mr. Hyde, get it? Hyde. I don't want to look too much into the symbolism, but it's literally called Mr. Hyde for a reason, right? And what does Mr. Hyde represent? He represents sexual sin, inner desire, depravity, inner evil, okay? Your deepest desires, basically being able to do things with impunity. When you go online and you have an anonymous profile, you have the emboldenedness and the bravery to say these crazy things, because there is a shield, there's a mask covering you from your actual identity, right? And this is the same thing that this potion does. It allows Mr. Jekyll, right, to transform himself into Mr. Hyde to commit these acts of depravity. And why did he do so? Why did he want to do this? Because of the setting, because of the Victorian London state. You know, it was Victorian London where everybody was high or upper class. You were either high upper class or you were in the slums. And if you were upper class, you had to have an amazing reputation. This is where they wore those like skirt things to keep themselves high in their waist, and where they would wear gloves and they would have all these things. And even interacting with these bums, so-called bums, would put a stain on your reputation. So basically, like holding your breath his entire life, he wants to enact on these desires. So Dr. Jekyll did not take this potion to transform himself into Mr. Hyde. Mr. Hyde is not real. There is only Dr. Jekyll. Mr. Hyde is a way and a mode for him to enact on his desires, killing people, trampling over children, doing all of these things in the name of self-indulgence.
While being able to keep his high image.
Exactly, being able to hide himself, right? And so that's where many iterations get wrong. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, the strange case. Many iterations get it wrong. It's about two personalities. It's about a good person who took a person and turned him into a bad man or transformed him. No.
Like the corruption of...
Exactly, no. You could go into that. And also you can go into how high society wanted to ascend in a way, not like, you know, BP or anything like that, but ascend. Jay Dyer was talking about this. Ascend, that's how a lot of like, you know, high society... Freemasonry and all this weird stuff when you're in the upper echelons. And I want to continue to do these kind of philosophic breakdowns of movies. We were getting into epistemology, and I do want to do a class on it, not a class, but like
a lesson.
A small little breakdown, so you guys can understand, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But it's kind of funny because the only iteration or only show that actually got the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde right, besides the original, not the book, but the movie, was VeggieTales. It's kind of funny. Like, think about it. Every other one got it wrong or misinterpreted it because of the movie, right? So let me tell you how the VeggieTales one work. It's basically the same thing. How an investigator is looking for
Dr. Jekyll.
No. What was his name, Alkai? In VeggieTales for
Dr. Jiggle, Mr. Hyde.
No, that's not his actual name.
Sorry, it's Dr. Jiggle and Mr.
Sly and Mr. Sly. Yeah. So in VeggieTales, it's called Mr. Jibble or Dr. Jibble and Mr. Sly.
Jiggle.
Yes, Dr. Jiggle and Mr. Sly, okay? So you see how there's two stark contracts, right? And this investigator is trying to find Dr. Jiggle, right? But they say like they can't find him because whatever. And the new person in town is Mr. Sly, whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing because I haven't watched in a while. But at the end of the day, it is revealed that Mr. Sly, right? Well, the investigator thinks that Mr. Sly has hurt or abducted Dr. Jiggle, right? But at the end of the day, it is revealed that Mr. Sly is Dr. Jiggle, just like in the original adaptation in the movie and the book, right? So it is actually the only adaptation that got it right, that at the end of the day, Mr. Sly was not real, it was only Mr. Jiggle. Same way in the book, that Mr. Hyde was not actually an entity, he was only himself. And you can go into how he lost control or whatever, but at the end of his, when he was writing his pages, before he, himself, right? He started speaking in the first person, right? I did this. He did this. I looked in the mirror and saw Hyde. I did all this. Why? It's because you can argue that he was, you can argue that he was Mr. Hyde for a while, but at the end of the day, it is the universal understanding that Mr. Hyde is Dr. Jekyll and there is no Mr. Hyde. You could make a case for saying that Mr. Hyde, right, was almost like something else, where when he drank the potion, then he almost went into like a trance state where he almost became someone else. But at the end of the day, that is him, where it started to blend their personalities together. And at the end of the day, that was really truly Dr. Jekyll just wanting to enact on his desires. Mm-hmm. So that's the strange case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, okay? And I know many people don't know this, right? Only if you watch VeggieTales. So it is not about a good doctor, right, or good scientist who takes a potion that turns him into a bad man or splits his personality. It's about a bad doctor or bad scientist who takes this potion to transform him into someone else so he can enact on his evil desires.
Yes, very nice.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Anyways, I hope you like to break down. We literally did basically no studying. This is just me freeballing, like, freeball, you know what I'm saying, off the cuff. And I think this is, dang.
Oh, bro, don't.
Bro, like, I'm sitting on this chair, and my leg hairs gets attached to it, and then it rips off. Anyways, this video I think is pretty good. Our first video wasn't bad. I think this is pretty good because I think the lighting is always too bright. It's like, no, it's not like this. It's like this. And it's not bad, but it's like, needs to be better. Plus, I did cardio after this. I mean, before this, so I'm like, depleted. Let's see your biceps, huh?
Bro, it just looks like...
Yeah, I know, compared to mine, so we
I'm
dwarf.
saying, no, okay, what? No, mine's like an inch, like smaller than yours, maybe like a half an inch.
An inch too small. Anyways, our next video will be on Bone, and everybody loves Bone. Everybody loves Bone. That was one of my favorite comic books as a kid, besides Captain Underpants. I remember watching even Michael, who I go to, you know, thing, he said he watched it. But we're going to be analyzing the locust and what it represents. What is the locust? Is it destruction? Is it life? Does it even have a form? Is it metaphysical? Does it have a substance? Tune in next time on GCB.